What's going on Facebook? Give me a moment to get myself all figured out here on my Facebook. Find our feed. Here we go. All right. Lower that volume here. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. This is Jesse, and you guys are joining me today on our second part of our Mommy and Me or Daddy and Me paint along, where we do these. We did the little couple of whales yesterday. We drew them. Today we paint. Okay. Just want to remind everybody once again to not click on any links that come up in the comments, promising to take you to the live feed for today's tutorial. Everything happens here on Painting with Jesse, so if you see any such links, simply ignore them. I'll try to delete them as I see them if they pop up. Who knows, maybe they won't. Yesterday we didn't have any of that happen, so maybe today we won't either. But yeah, once again, if you guys see any links in the comments indicating that they're going to take you to the live feed for today's event, please do not click on them. What's going on, Randy Dixon? First one on the comment section saying hello. Hello to you. Hope you're doing well. Once again, guys, as you guys jump on here, if you guys can, say hello. Tell me where you're painting from and who you're painting with. That would be fantastic. I'll give you a nice little shout out. What's up, Mamita Rivera from Springfield? How are you? Welcome, welcome. I think you were on here with us yesterday. So again, guys, yesterday we did the drawing piece of today's event. It's a 2-day event. We drew out our little whales, right? We drew these out. Hopefully you guys all were able to catch all of that and finish up your drawings. Today we're going to be painting them. So what will you be needing today? Well, you're going to be needing, of course, your drawings from yesterday, and then something to paint with or color with. You guys are going to be using markers, colored pencils, whatever it is that you guys have, that's what you're going to use. I'm going to be painting with acrylic paint. Anytime I use acrylic paint, I like to have paper towels because things get messy. Of course, my paints, I've got some brown, I've got some blue, a little bit of red, some white, and some black. But whatever colors you guys have, that's what you'll be using, okay? So just make sure you guys have something handy to paint with. Quick reminder before we get going, and we are going to get moving pretty fast. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to be doing Stitch. Okay, we're going to be doing Stitch on Tuesday, 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then Thursday, we're going to be doing Miguel from Coco. Okay, that's next Thursday, same time. And then the following week, Tuesday, we're doing Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. Okay? And then, of course, we've got a bunch of other fun stuff coming up during the month. I just don't have everything ready to go to show you guys. So Stitch and Miguel next week, okay? And then Mike Wazowski the following week. All right, guys, it is 1 o'clock. Yes, Randy, they sure are. The videos are available. So after the live is over, after the live session is over, the recorded version of the live will be available right after. About 5-10 minutes afterwards. Usually takes Facebook a few minutes to approve the video. So if you're not able to join us today, but you want to be able to do this at a later time, go ahead and look for it under the live video tab on the main Facebook, on my main Facebook page, Painting with Jesse. Just go up at the top, you'll see a little live tab. You click on that live tab and it'll show you all the videos of everything we've done over the past few months, okay? So again, if you guys can't join us today, the video will be available for you guys to do at a later date. But all right, guys, once again, let me go over the supplies list really quickly for today. Obviously, we're painting. Yesterday, we did the drawing part for our whales. If you missed that, please go back. Same thing, look into the live tab. You're going to see the drawing tutorial from yesterday, okay? So today, we're going to need something to color with. I've got acrylic paints, blue, white, red, brown, and black. Those are the colors that I'm going to be using. I got some paper towels because things can get messy. I've got a set of brushes. Okay, real basic set of brushes. I'll go over those in just a moment before we get started. Because I'm working with acrylic paint, I like to have a water cup. This water cup sits next to me with my brushes floating in them, okay? The brushes are in them. keeps my brushes from drying out. So if you're painting with acrylic paint, it's your first time, you're gonna want to be doing that, okay? So, all right, guys, let's get going. I'm gonna come over to the front here and get ourselves moving. We should take about an hour approximately for today's session. So hopefully you guys all have time to stick around for that long. If not, don't worry. Stay for as long as you can, and then come on back and finish whenever you have a chance. Okay, so let me get things situated. We're gonna get moving here pretty fast. So get your paints, markers, colored pencils, whatever it is that you're going to be using to paint with us today or color in with us today. That's what you want to use. Okay, once again, if you missed yesterday's drawing tutorial where we drew both of our whales, you can go back and find that. It's under the live tab on Painting with Jesse's main page. Okay, so if you guys want to catch up with that, go ahead and look for that, and then you can always come back and watch this at a later time as well. Okay, I'm going to scoot things forward here. And like I said, we're going to get moving pretty fast. I'm not going to get as close to the canvas as I did yesterday, since it doesn't have to be that detailed. We're not drawing today, we're just painting. But if I need to maybe do a close-up of something, I'll bring the canvases forward. But all right, everyone. So, got my paints. What I like to do, again, this is for any of you that might be new to painting. What I like to do is I'll put my paints, I'll lay them out on a plate. Okay, I'll use a plate as a palette. So I've got blue and white. It's going to be mainly for my background, my water. Got a little bit of red, which is going to go right inside the tongue, inside the mouth for big mama or daddy whale. A little bit of brown. My whales are going to have brown eyes. Your whales can have whatever colors you want. And then, of course, I've got some black for the black parts of our whales and a little bit of white for that white parts on white markings on our whales, okay? So we're going to start on the background first. Usually, whenever I paint, I typically will start with the background, okay? Now, once again, I mentioned that I've got brushes sitting here in a cup with water, okay? The four main brushes that I typically use for these kinds of paintings. Let me show you guys a quick close-up here for those of you that may not be familiar with acrylic painting. Okay, so these brushes that I have here, pretty basic. Synthetic bristle brushes. That's my favorite kind of brushes to use. Okay, I got this 1-inch flat brush. I use this for the large parts, especially with our backgrounds. This comes in real handy. I've got a 1/2-inch flat brush. Okay, smaller details, a little smaller detail. I got a 1/4-inch flat brush. Okay, smaller still, and then I got a little tiny liner brush for the really small stuff. As long as you got something similar to this, you're going to be fine. You don't have to be the exact same sizes or anything like that, so don't worry about that. And if you're looking for a place to get them, you want to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby. If you have one of those locally or another art store nearby, these are pretty basic and you can find them anywhere. Also, you can order them online. Amazon has a really good variety. I've noticed that Walmart has been carrying some really good stuff too, so, all right. Zulma, how's it going? Adriana says she'd like to request a Hello Kitty painting sometime. Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Hello Kitty would be fantastic. But all right, everyone, here we go with the background. I'm going to take some blue. So yesterday, background, we drew in all of our lines, some of our lines for some of the highlights and things like that. We did some of the bubbles. So I'm going to take some basic blue, kind of a dark blue, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select areas on our background where I'm going to paint this in. Now watch what I'm doing. I'm painting at an angle. So I'm painting with long brush strokes. I got a little bubble up in this corner that I drew in yesterday, so it's okay, I'll just go right over it. These long brush strokes, and they're slightly diagonal. Makes it look like light coming in through the water. Later on when I add some of the lighter highlights in the water, it's going to look pretty cool. So once again, brush strokes are kind of diagonal. And I'm going to go all the way around my whale. Actually, I'm going to switch over to my little 1/4-inch brush. Okay, a little 1/4 inch brush allows me to work in like this. Lets me do some outlining. So mama whale first or daddy whale first, whatever your whale is, whatever the big whale is, right? Okay, so wherever I'm going to have some of this dark blue, I'm going to go ahead and outline my whale. So like right here. So this whole section right here is going to be this blue. So I just go right in there and I darken that up, outline it. Now I take my big brush, I go over to my big 1-inch brush and I come on through here and I brush, again following the same angle that I did originally up there. And I've got some bubbles in here. I'm going to go ahead and paint over them because I can always go back and color those in later. Okay, so some blue, right, dark blue like I said, nice and easy. Then I'm going to come in here and do the same thing. And again, if you guys are just watching today, maybe you didn't get a chance to draw the piece yesterday, go back and look for the drawing tutorial. Now watch this, folks. So I'm going to have these connecting like this, okay? Or I'm sorry. I would have them like this. I'm going to continue. So from here, I'm going to continue so that when I hang them up on the wall, they match up. Okay. So I'm going to do all this right here. Really quickly, I'm going to switch back over to my small brush. Don't forget, guys, say hello in the comments. We have a smaller group today than we did yesterday, probably because everybody, maybe the drawing part was more important for everyone, and the painting or coloring in part is kind of self-explanatory. How's it going, Sandra Macias Wang? How are you? Thank you for joining in today. So I'm gonna go through and outline my little whale really quick. Again, wherever I'm gonna do this dark blue on that canvas, just gonna go through here and outline like this. All right, now back to the big brush. Now in between steps, guys, my brushes are sitting in the water cup. Okay, I'm not letting them dry out on me. With acrylic paint, if you let your brushes sit in one spot, if you let them sit outside the water, right? They got acrylic paint like this, if they got paint on them and I just set them down on the table, within a few minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes, the brush will dry out. The paint will dry. And that can cause some problems. Really difficult to clean up. How's it going, Rosemarie from Canada? Welcome. You got it, Glenda Williams. You got it. All right. So down in here, right? My two canvases are going to match up. And of course, you don't have to be painting on canvases. You could be doing this on a piece of paper. Whoa, I almost lost my canvas there. You could be painting on a couple of pieces of paper, drawing paper, cardboard, construction paper, whatever you have, right? Whatever you have is what you're going to use. Perfectly fine. As long as you can draw on it and paint on it, that's all you need. All right, back to my little brush so I can do some outlining. I want to thank all of you that are here today, joining in on the fun. Please share my page with your friends and family, people that you think might like to do some art. Please feel free to share my page with them. You can share my page, my Painting with Jesse page on your Facebook, right? And invite friends. Hey, this guy's got cool art tutorials. And we have art tutorials for kids and then for pretty much all ages. If you guys are new to the channel, go back and look under the Lives tab for more videos. Okay, I got a whole bunch of videos. All right. So there's the darker blue. I can always go back and do another layer on top of it, on top of that blue to darken it up. But right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to take some of my blue, bring it over to a different part of my plate, and then I'm going to mix a little bit of white with it to lighten up that color. I'm also going to switch brushes. Now I'm going to be using my little 1/2-inch brush. Now I'll do the same thing where I come in here and outline the areas that are going to have some of this blue. Okay, and then I go ahead and fill in those parts. Make sure you guys join next Tuesday when we do Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. And then Thursday we're doing Miguel from Coco. There we go. Okay, up here, around the tail. Oh, I know, I missed this little part right here. This part right in here should be dark blue, like this. Oh, right here too. It's okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this in this lighter color. There we go. So where are you guys joining from? Some of you that haven't said hello yet. Where are you guys joining from and who are you painting with? Make sure you guys say hello, right? And then lastly, when you guys are all done at the end of our session today or whenever you finish, please send me pictures of your masterpieces. I'm really behind. I got a bunch of pictures from all of last month's events, and then some from the ones that we've done this month. I haven't had a chance to post them, so I got some catching up to do. All right, there we go. Down here, same. Oh, I know, up here. Missed that. Then down here. So again, we outline our little whale and then go ahead and fill in the rest. Other side. You guys notice I go pretty quickly through this process. Nothing too fancy, especially on this first layer. When we do a second layer over the top of our water, when everything starts to get really intense, a lot more intense than this. So I'm not too super worried about this first step. Main thing I want to be concerned with is making sure that I apply enough paint to cover everything that's water on my painting right now. I'm gonna miss this little spot over here. There we go. So I'm going to leave you guys a little bit of time to catch up here while I turn on a little bit of music back here. All right. Again, folks, for those of you that might be new to painting with Jesse, I give you guys time in between steps to catch up, okay? To do your part. I'll do my part over here, and then you guys mimic what I do. Pretty basic. In between steps, I'll look at the comments, answer questions, say hello, that kind of stuff. All right, not a whole lot of activity going on here. Rosemarie Alonso, hello. She says, me and my critters. Well, welcome to you and your critters. Thank you for being here. And then leave your comment, leave your request for tutorials in the comment section. Zulma says, Adriana would like to request a Hello Kitty painting sometime. So that's a comment from earlier, but stuff like that. I love suggestions, and that gives me all kinds of ideas of stuff to do. All right, let's get a little music going on in the background. All right. A little bit of Facebook friendly music from their collection. All right, guys, so take a couple minutes more on that background. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oops. On this first pass. Don't worry about it being perfect and uniform throughout. You can always go back and do another layer afterwards. And then don't be shy, folks. If you guys have questions or comments, etc., please put them down in that comment section. I'm just going through and refining things a little bit. Don't have to refine too much. Most refining happens during the second step of, or second layer of the painting process. If we sit, for example, let's say I'm back here in this section of the water, and I'm sitting here trying to make everything look perfect. On this first layer, it's not going to work. The paint just keeps moving around, and it doesn't get even like some people want it to. That usually doesn't happen until second or third layers, okay? So for now, that's where we're gonna stand. We're gonna leave this part, give you guys about another minute, and then we're gonna start painting the inside of our whales. What's up, Ariel? Victoria Rosenberg, hello from Tampa, Florida. Alice, 6 years old, and mom are painting. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining in today. Got some jamming music there. All right, guys. So here we go. Let's talk about our whales. Whales are pretty basic, right? We got black and white. The only real variation is the red tongue on mama whale or papa whale. But pretty much everything else is pretty obvious. The eyes, color for the eyes, for the inside of the eyes. Like I said, mine's going to be brown. I'm going to use brown for the color of the whale's eyes, but you guys can use whatever color you want. Anytime we're painting something with detail. And this is pretty much the same whether you're using acrylic paints or markers or even crayons, things like crayons, right? I like to outline, and I'm going to start with black. So I'll outline everything first. It helps me stay on the inside of the lines. Okay, just like that. So what's going on, Ariel? I'd probably be safer doing this with a smaller brush, right? The bigger the brush, the more easily you can make a mistake and go around your lines or past your lines. But I've been painting for a while, and sometimes it's hard to take chances. Let's just be a little on the careful side. Okay, so for the tail, I am going to switch to a smaller brush, do my outlining with a smaller one. Switch over to my little 1/4 inch brush. Okay, just like that. I'm also going to do tall fin. Okay. Got to make sure we outline face marking, a big white face marking. Want to avoid the eye. Once I've done all that, I can go right ahead and fill in the inside. So if you don't get a chance to finish with us today, or if you fall a little bit behind or whatever, the video is going to be available, right, for you guys to watch at a later time. The recorded version of the live will be available to watch whenever you guys want. There we go. And then the same thing with the whale. Don't try to make it, if you're painting, if you're using paint, don't worry about making everything perfectly uniform right now. You're going to get a variation of color in here. Some of it's going to be a little more transparent where it looks almost gray. Don't worry about that. First pass is usually always like this. Also depends on the type of paint you're using. Even within acrylic paints, it can vary a little bit. All right, little whale, same thing. We outline everything. All the way around the back. All right, nice and easy. Can't forget the little fin on the other side of our little whale, so like this. Might as well fill it in. And here we go. Just want to remind everybody, don't waste too much time trying to make your color really even on this first pass. Acrylic paint usually requires at least 2 layers and sometimes 3. If you want a smoother texture, let's say that your paint is a little bit on the chunky side, thick side, and you want it a little smoother, take a couple of drops of water with your brush and then let those drip onto your black paint, whatever black paint you're using, right, where your little pile of black paint is. Mix that water into the paint. Mix it in really, really well. And that'll make your paint having more liquidy consistency, smoother also. Okay? You don't want it runny though. You don't want to add so much water that it becomes runny. You want it just enough where it gets nice and smooth. All right. So this is all I will do on my whales for now, as far as the black paint is concerned. I will come in here, even though this is all still white, right? The white parts. I do want to add some white paint over the canvas because it will make a difference. Ariel watching 300 and drinking Coke Zero and hanging out with us. Sounds like a fantastic day. Can't have a better day than that, Ariel. Just saying. Just saying. Hi Linda, welcome back. Just chilling at home. Fantastic. Sounds like a good day anytime you get to relax at home. Anytime you get to relax, period. So here we go. Grab some white paint with my little 1/2-inch brush. Just gonna come in here. Gotta be careful that I don't grab any of that black paint that's still wet. And then I bring it over into my white part. This white paint that I have, for whatever reason, is really chunky. Came like that out of the bottle, so it would make sense for me to add a little bit of water to it. I'll do that in a second. So what I'm going to do next, actually, my light part of my water is already all dry. Okay, and this in here, I can take right now and do another layer over that. Don't worry if you guys aren't here yet, just kind of pay attention. This is all something you can do even if we finish the video and you're not all caught up. This is something you can always do later, right? So all I'm going to do right now is take a little bit of white, whoops, see that? Grab some black paint with my brush by accident. No big deal. Let's come back over to this side over here. Do the same thing. A little bit of white paint, a little bit of blue paint, mix the two together. And here we go. I'm just gonna come in here and lighten this up a little bit. Now that this area is nice and dry, the second layer evens things out quite a bit. Just gotta be careful I don't pick up any black paint. Right, if I grab that edge too closely and I bring the brush into the whale, it's gonna grab some of that white paint or some of that black paint and it's gonna bring it over into my water. We don't wanna do that, so I wanna be real careful. If it was to happen, it's easy to fix. But why hassle? Let's make it easy on ourselves. Okay? So you guys notice the difference between this area here now that I've added the second layer and then the other areas. A lot more uniform, a lot brighter. That's what happens when you layer acrylic paint. So down in here, same thing. Got to avoid my whale so I don't grab any black paint. Whoops, just like that. It's all right. It was very little, so it didn't have much of an effect. Then up in here. All right. Grabbed a little bit of paint, a little bit of that black paint, brought it over into my water, but check this out. So you guys notice this right here? Got a little bit of black paint, brought it into the water a bit. No big deal. So we grab paper towel, a little bit of water, don't need much. Then I'm gonna come in here and I just wipe that right off. As long as the paint's wet, it comes off real easily. Okay? And then I go back and continue doing what I was doing. As I'm doing this step, my whale's drying, right? My whale is what I did to the whale here a moment ago is all drying. Acrylic paint, like I mentioned earlier, dries very fast. Gives us time to move through a whole painting pretty quickly, unlike oil painting, for example. Oil paints take a much longer time to dry depending on how thick you make it. Oil paint can take hours and sometimes a couple of days, 3-4 days to really dry. Just a different kind of medium. Now, I love working with both. I actually learned painting with oils. And oil is also a lot of fun to work with. All right, let's bring our little guy over here. There we go. All right. Okay, back to my white. So go through here and add, get another layer of white to my whale. Not another layer, sorry. First layer of white to the whale. Continue what I was doing before I moved over to the water. So, I mentioned earlier that if you have really thick paint, you can add a little bit of water to it. And excuse me, folks, while I grab another plate. All right. So if you guys notice, my white paint is really chunky, really thick. So if I take a little bit of water, little tiny bit of water, drops. You don't need a lot. I just put a little tiny drop of water right on the plate right there. Now I'm going to mix the two together. That really, really helps smooth out the paint. Little tiny bit, you don't need much. Now when I go in here and apply that white paint, it's a lot easier to work with. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. The smaller the area, the smaller the brush you want to use. All right. So I grabbed this little tiny thing here. It makes it a lot easier to work my way around these little curves. Can't forget our little eye up here. Then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing to our little guy. Here. So now that those white parts are drying, the black is almost completely dry. I'm going to take a moment to add some more dark blue paint into the water. So I'm switching back over to my big brush, or the big brush that I was using at the very beginning. Just going to grab a whole bunch of this blue paint. And then I'll come in here and color all this in. Again, just doing another layer, second layer of this blue. Things get a lot more intense this way. More even. Okay. Can't forget our little guy. There we go. So you guys can always see the difference between the second layer, first and second layers. Everything's a lot brighter and a lot more intense. Since I'm waiting for the black, and actually I'm not waiting so much for the white to dry. The white in our whales don't really need to do another pass. But I am waiting for the black to completely dry to be able to do another layer over that. In the meantime, I'm going to take one of my little brushes. I'm going to grab some white. I'm going to make some bubbles. Your painting can have as many bubbles as you want it to have. You can start with little circles, different sizes. Then we can fill those in. You can use just the tip of the brush if you got a real tiny brush and just touch it up to the canvas and then swirl it, turn it. Okay, let's go to our little whale and do the same thing. Different size bubbles. There we go. Sorry, what did I forget, Ariel? What am I missing? The dorsal fin again. What dorsal fin? I don't see. I'm not sure. All right, so by now all the black on the inside of our whales is nice and dry. So guess what's next? Another layer of black to make things nice and dark, nice and even, or as much as we can. So here we go. Oh, gotcha. Okay, no worries. Whoops. Not distracted. I was reading Ariel's comment, and I had some black paint right up on top here by my big whale's fin. So paper towel, just come in here and I'm gonna scrape that off. I'll have to add another layer of blue over that in a little bit, but that's all right. We're gonna blame Ariel for this, because why not? I know she was only trying to help. But you know, gotta blame somebody. Just kidding. Thank you, Ariel. But anyway, back to another layer of black paint. As you guys can see, now that I'm adding this second layer, the whale's getting really, really uniform. The black's a lot sharper. All good, Ariel. I totally appreciate you, so don't even worry. It's all good. This Facebook music is kind of funny. But it's starting to recognize some of these songs. It's about the fourth time that I've been playing their music from their selection, and yeah, so I'm just trying to remember them. All right, guys. So second layer over our little whale. Same thing, right? Everything gets nice and dark, much more uniform in color. Good, down in here. And then we can't forget the little fin on the other side. There we go. Much better. So I'll let you guys work on that for a little bit. In a moment, I'm going to come over and add some brown to the eyes and then some red on the inside of our big whale's tongue. And then the same thing with the bubbles. Once you've let them dry and you come back and add another layer of white over them, of course they're going to become a lot more intense, a lot brighter. They're going to stand out some more. So here we go. I'm going to take a little brush. My little tiny, I'm going to take my little liner brush, little skinny thing. Okay, this guy right here, because I want to be able to control where I put my red. So I'm going to use the very tip of my bristles here, and I'm just come inside and I color in that tongue. Right? Go around the teeth. Then I'm going to do the same thing, same little brush, clean up some of that red that's in there. I'm going to take a little bit of brown. Just going to come in here to the eye. Both of my whales. Like I said, who knows? Maybe your whales have different colored eyes. Blue, green, yellow, red, who knows? So while you guys are working on that, I'm going to take a little bit of my blue here, come over and fix this little area in here that I removed that black from. Just adding another layer of blue. Then I'm going to come up here by my tail's dorsal fin, the area that I forgot earlier. I just got to be careful, again, that I don't grab any of that black paint. It's still fresh. And I simply all the way around like this. Don't forget to send me pictures of your masterpieces when you're all done. I'd love to see your work. Okay, another out here. Wait, I think I'm getting my whale anatomy mixed up. I think this is what Ariel was talking about earlier, not up here. The dorsal fin is this one, if I'm not mistaken. If there's any whale experts out there, please let me know. I don't think that this is the dorsal fin, not this. All right, there we go. So by this point, the rest of all my bubbles, for the most part, should be fairly dry. Now I can go in there, grab some more paint, and I come in here and they're gonna get a lot more intense. Stand out a little bit more now. All right, let's look at our little guy over here. Do the same thing, right, to all these bubbles. Make them a lot more intense. All right. So I got it right, Ariel, the second time. Took me a moment. So anyway, folks, that's pretty much it for today. Nothing too detailed, right? You guys all have all the steps involved. What I would do next is I would go through and do little refinements, like maybe around the whale's body. I could go in there and make sure with a little tiny brush, little skinny thing, or my little liner brush, I can go in there and just make sure, for example, like in here where there's a little bit of white coming through, that I clean those areas up. If I wanted to, I could go in there and do another layer of blue and light blue in the water to make everything stand out even more. I could do another layer of black on my on black parts of the whales. All of those things would help make the painting maybe a little cleaner, but it's up to you, right? I mean, it depends on what kind of paint you're using, if you're even using paints, right? But like these little areas around the fin down here where there's a little bit of white peeking through, I could just go in here and clean all that up. Little touch-ups. Okay. I could go in and further refine the edges on the inside of our whales also, like all those areas that are black. Like right here around the edges. Just further refine those lines. Up in there like that. Okay. We can do the same to our big whale, right? From here, I'm missing a little bit of black. See some of that white peeking through. Okay. But all right, everyone, does anybody have any questions? That's pretty much the last step. Okay. Once again, if you didn't get a chance to finish here or you're a little bit behind, the video is going to stay up. So just look for it after the live feed is over. I want to remind you all that next week we got Stitch on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. We got Miguel from Coco on Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific also. And then we got the following Tuesday, we've got Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. Okay? So for those of you that are interested in those events, I have Stitch. Stitch is already up. The details for Stitch, the event is already on the calendar. I've got to add the other ones, so be ready for that. Make sure you guys like the page if you guys haven't yet, so you guys can get all the notifications. We got a lot of really fun stuff coming up, and I just noticed I got a bunch of blue paint here on my forearm. Pretty cool. But all right, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys had some fun. Please don't forget to send me pictures of your projects. Would love to see you guys in them if possible, but if not, just send pictures of your paintings, okay? All right, everyone, hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day, and I hope to see you guys back here very soon. All right, talk to you all later. Bye-bye.